have to lean forward. So if I talk like this, so okay, where did you talk? Okay, cool. I'll just make sure because we don't want anything like that turning up there, like last year.
Yeah, so each of the slides will have, that's the placing obviously,
Yep.
the score is there, and then you see what their award is. And that's an award on each of the slides.
So they're on each of the slides are big, so I can actually read it.
Yeah, so it'll be that size.
Okay. Oh, I should be able to do that. So I go through and
So
okay, talk about
start,
that.
Yep. Think photo warehouse, read category description, and we're just going 25 down, and
Okay.
there's a
trying to clear my throat. I'm going over here. You can't hear me? You can't hear? Very good. All right. No, yeah, that's right. Yeah, me too.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the New Zealand Amateur Awards. We're doing the landscape category this morning, and I want to give special thanks to the Photo Warehouse for sponsoring of the 2024 New Zealand Amateur Photography Awards. Now today with landscape, it's a landscape category intended for photographs depicting the features of an area of land, landforms or man-made landscape features. The main focus of the image should be this landscape, but it may include other elements that give the context to the story of the image. Entries may be traditional and or interpretive. So today we're going to be looking at the top 25. For each entry, we will tell you where they got within the category and the score, and then a judge is going to give the entrant some constructive feedback. When we get to the top 10, these entries are in random order. There is no score, but every entry will be given some feedback. So for now, sit back and enjoy and look at these amazing images. Right, ready team? This award was 25th. It scored 8.4 and it was 80 and it was a silver award. And can we have a comment from Peter, please?
Love the central composition. A lot of people say you need to play with the rule of thirds, whereas I think that the rule of thirds is just for people who aren't trying hard enough very often. So putting the image right in the middle, I think is the subject right in the middle is great. I like the use of the lines on the road and the fog in the middle. Maybe we could look at the tonal mapping of the image, maybe darkening down the top a little bit so that the eye is led in to the scene and then not out. The eye gets led into the sky and then out of the picture. So maybe just darkening that bit down might improve it, but beautifully seen.
Thank you so much. This image was 24th and it got 80 and a silver award. Congratulations.
So I'm really enjoying the quietness, tranquility, I suppose almost solitude of this image. The complementary colours of those really subtle tones of gold and blue work very well together. I wasn't sure about the pine trees initially, but it does give the image a bit of depth and structure. Everything is placed pretty centrally, so to improve this image, I would consider having a wee look at the smaller random trees on left and right. And in this category, I believe that we could have a go at those. And perhaps have a wee play with that horizon. Yes, it is very central, and I hear Peter about the rule of thirds. But yeah, just have a play.
Thank you very much, Janine. This image was 23rd, it scored 80, and it was a silver award. Congratulations.
Yeah, look, what a great view. What a great place to wake up. It's a great picture. Anything to it makes me feel like I'm there. So I really like it. I can't, in terms of improvement, maybe, or it's just a great picture. I think maybe some to draw the eye through the image, and to look at maybe highlighting the person and into the distance as well. So just to start with the boots and then build the story to the person, and that's about it. It's just a great image. I wish I was there.
Thank you very much. This image was 22nd, it scored 81, and it was a silver award.
A very worthy silver award. The composition's great. The way the eye is led through, we've got the foreground hill with the fence line leading into the trail of lights. Then you've got the Milky Way coming down. I wonder whether it depends what the photographer likes. I mean, we've got quite a sort of a high-key, pastel-y sort of look to the image, but I feel that perhaps the image is a little bit too light, which you might think is odd for a night shot. Maybe darkening down and going for a little bit more grunt in the sky, a little bit more contrast could strengthen it up. But hey, you've got a silver. Don't listen to me.
This image was 21st. It scored 81 and got a silver award.
I really love this image. It's just got a great mood, and the mist in the background. You can just see the mountains in the background as well. It's just got a great feel to it. I love the misty feel and the story with the boat, and just how you can just see the top of the boat. It gives you an idea of the force of the ocean and the swell that's there. If they've got any suggestion for improvement, maybe move the boat down more to the bottom third of the image, take out a bit of the foreground, might give it a bit more of a expansive sort of feel and a bit more of the sky, might give it a bit of bigger feel. But yeah, it's just a really fantastic image. I love it.
Thank you. This image was 20th and it was scored 81 and it was a silver award.
Look, the photographer for an astro-type shoot has got a real sense of the place where this amazing event is actually occurring. So well done. And that's beautifully framed by those mountains and the reflections in the water. I'm not a great astro chaser, but I'm just wondering whether the shutter speed on this was a wee bit too long, which would have given a little more clarity to that sky. And just a tip for the photographer is just paying a little bit of attention to detail and doing a little bit of cleaning up of things, spotting things. There's a couple of tanks or something on the left-hand side that do draw your eye a wee bit. So just going through and having a wee proofread of your photos is always good.
Thank you, Janine. This image was 19th. It scored 81, a silver award. Congratulations.
Yep. Very elegant. I don't know whether I would change anything. Probably should have got 18th instead of 19th, shouldn't it, really? Beautifully seen, love the high key, well executed. I wouldn't be adding anything to this. I think it's beautifully presented and I'd be very happy to see it in my portfolio.
This image was 18th and it scored 81 and it was a silver award. Congratulations. Go, Janine. Oh, no, Janine can go. Janine can go. Go, Janine.
Oh, okay. All right. Look, it's congratulations. It's a beautiful image. Beautiful. Again, a little bit like the one before. I wish I was there. You could maybe do a little bit more, of a personal touch in terms of your style, and a bit of editing to to draw on what Pete said before, a bit of darkening, a bit of lightening, just to I guess the hero of the image is the old tin barn or shed there, and just to sort of for the viewer looking at it, just to lead them into build a bit of a story, a bit of contrast around that shed, and just lead them into the the snow-capped mountains in the background, and a bit of darkening down of the sky, just to create a bit more of a mood. So I think that's all I can suggest there. But it's again, I wish I was there. It's just beautiful.
Can I just add something? Yeah. Look. Thanks, Chris. This is actually a place I know. So I think there's some real potential for the landscape within the landscape here. So perhaps just having a closer look, if you can get onto the property, is always good.
Thank you, Janine. It is definitely gorgeous down there. This image was 17th. It scored 81 and it was a silver award. Sorry, Janine.
Sorry.
No, just Janine. Go, Janine.
Yeah. Congratulations on achieving a unique take on a well-known landscape that's always quite challenging. I'm really enjoying how the branches draw us into the focal point of the image. And also that the weather conditions are quite outstanding. The rock is perhaps not as dynamic as it could be, as it is the place where we're going. And there's, perhaps some scope for some subtle work on there. I sort of feel like the horizon's a wee bit tilted, maybe, unknown. But have a wee look at that, and there's a bit of a glow around that rock too.
Thank you, Janine. This image was 16th. It scored 81, and it was a silver award. Congratulations.
Yeah, beautifully seen, and coming from Australia, we're almost as cold as you are at the moment in Sydney, but not quite. Wonderful conditions. One of the challenges I have with snow and ice is getting the exposure right, and when I look at this image, I feel that I don't have the detail that I'd love to see in the frost on the trees. And so when I'm exposing, I'm always really paranoid about my histogram being blown out, and so I'm often underexposing. And I feel it's the same here. If you go back to your raw file and just start off with a darker image and then gradually bring up the shadows, so you keep all of the detail in the highlights, I think that image can go from a silver to a gold. It's just absolutely exquisite, and I just think a little bit more work in post-production, and you've got one.
Thank you very much. This image was 15th. It scored 81, and it was a silver award.
I'm surprised that it's I love this image. I like the layering and the depth. So there's the depth of the contrast and the actual. I like the type, almost telephoto type crop as well. It's just got a wonderful feel. It just goes from what you in a foreground, what you can relate to, and it almost takes you into a like a mystical world in the back where your mind can wander and imagine, limitlessly. So yeah, I think it's really beautiful. I love those layers, and I'm not sure that I could suggest anything like I wouldn't personally do any much different to it. I'm surprised. I'm not say surprised. It could maybe. Yeah, just looking at it, maybe a little bit more, I guess, depth, I suppose, a bit more contrast in the, leading through. And I guess back to the mystic, the real story is that mountain in the back and the mystical sense of that mountain in the back. So maybe lightening that up a bit more and just blending the three sort of layers together a bit more, but holding your viewer into that mystical part in the back. Maybe could have brought it up a little bit more. So, yeah, but well done. Beautiful.
Thank you. This image was 14th. It scored 81, a silver award.
A beautiful luminosity to this image, and seeing it earlier on my calibrated monitor really brought that out. I think the birds in this case, they're not a cliche. This image needs those birds, and they've been really, they're in the perfect spot. I think it's possibly not an improvement so much as just I'm not sure how I feel about the shape and the bulk of the mountain behind, but there's possibly very little that you could do about it. And possibly one thing that could be addressed in the front is there's just the shadow of a ridgeline in the foreground that be interesting to see how it would look without it or not. So yeah, well done.
Thank you. This image was 13th. It scored 82, a silver award.
Well, it's taking me into the vortex, isn't it? Fantastic technique, obviously looking due south, and everything's rotating nicely. Even though it's an astro shot, a night shot, I think we've got so much control over our files that, that foreground could be lit up. Because when I look at the sky, I can't see the foreground, and yet the foreground itself is very interesting. There's lots of detail in there of all the sunflowers. I'm surprised they're awake at this time of the night, but there you go. Maybe lightening them up, maybe creating something that, either darkening down the sky and then lightening up the whole image together, or just lightening up the foreground so that it matches the strength of the background. Because at the moment it's that background which is knocking us out, and it looks great. But, can you bring the foreground and the background together so that they create a single photo rather than two?
Awesome. This image was 12. It scored 82, and it was a silver award. Congratulations.
Again, I think you can sort of gather that I love cold and mountains and stuff like that. So I love this again. It's got I like the historical type feel. It takes me back to old sort of colonial days, I guess. I like the landscape crop, and if I could offer anything, maybe just bring out the story of that old building a bit more. And make that what people want to, I guess, walk into and imagine what it would be like back in those older times. So how you do that is, lightening and darkening, and with colour as well. So there's some beautiful rusty, sort of reddish sort of tones on that old tin roof, and some beautiful warm yellows on the building itself. So I would just play around with that a bit more and really make that building a story, because it's a beautiful old building.
Thank you. This image was 11th. It scored 82, a silver award.
Congratulations on 11th place, that's amazing. So using the leading lines of the river and the riverbank to lead us into the incredible Milky Way and all those colours happening in the sky. So well done. That's very, very good. Just some feedback. There is a little bit of sort of light pollution creeping in just on the very edge of the frame, which can distract us from going on that journey down the river. So perhaps having a wee look at that. It does, though, give us some evidence of humanity in this landscape, which is interesting. And the snow is very, very bright on the mountain, and perhaps deciding which is the subject you really want us to look at is a good idea. In this case, it is the sky, so perhaps having a look at that snow might be a good thought.
Awesome. Thank you, Janine. Right, we're now going into the top 10. These are in random order. We don't know what they were scored. We're just going to be giving them a comment, and at 5 o'clock tonight, the top 3 will be announced. So here we go. The first image that comes up in the top 10, and we will have a comment, please.
Well, congratulations for getting to the top 10, and isn't it horrible that you're going to have to wait for a little longer to find out? I guess what I feel in this photograph is that huge expanse of the aurora behind and the landscape, and yet I'm finding that the image is, your framing is quite close, especially down the bottom there. So I wonder whether, just looking at your file, or whether you're often shooting, I often find that when I find a subject like this, which is just amazing, I shoot slightly wider, because I find in post-production I often want to crop it a little bit differently, and often the way I want to crop it is wider, and the only way you can generally do that is by starting off with a wider image. Of course, with AI, that comment's probably no longer available, but I'm a bit of a Luddite, so shoot a little bit wider, but beautifully seen. Thank you.
And congratulations on making the top 10, and we'll have another comment, please.
Congratulations again. This again is just a beautiful scene. I like the contrast on the and the layering of those foreground hills, and the line across, that horizontal line across and leading into the back of the image of those trees. And the contrast of the dying section there, or the brown section there, against the green and the snow is beautiful as well. Just wonderful textures through this image. Maybe you could do some bringing your viewer into what you want us to look at, because there's a whole scene there that I want to look at. Maybe focusing on particular area and leading through and building a bit of a story there. Maybe that's the only thing that I could suggest, but it's a wonderful image. The textures are just amazing, beautiful. The little track that's running through as well, it adds to it as well. So I think it's it's just really good. Just congratulations again, fantastic.
And here is the next image in our top 10.
Well done being in the top 10, and this is a brilliant image. It tells us exactly, it communicates very clearly what exactly is going on, which is fabulous. But the thing that I particularly enjoy is it's actually quite artistic and creative in the choices of, or not choice, but in the colours that have been documented here. So it's very good. The only piece of feedback I would have was perhaps the helicopter looks like it's sort of standing still. Perhaps a change of shutter speed just to get those blades a bit more dynamic would have added to the communication of the situation.
Thank you very much. And here we go. Here's another gorgeous image.
Iceland, you got to love it, haven't you? Beautiful. It's got so much impact when we look at it. There's detail all the way through. The subject itself is sensational, using the wide angle or I guess it's a panorama where we've stitched it together. My suggestion is that it's possibly overlit. It's a sort of a comment that you often hear applied to portrait photography, where there's just so much light everywhere, there's detail everywhere, and maybe that was the photographer's intention. There are people who love images which are detail all the way through, whereas I would apply a little bit of tonal mapping where I'm going to lead the viewer where I want them to look, so maybe over to the mountain in the distance or something or other, and that's just lightening and darkening different areas to direct the viewer's eye to where you want them to look. Not that you've ever got any control over those viewers, they always tend to have a mind of their own.
That they do. Thank you very much. And here we go, and the next image in our top 10.
This is like, again, it's otherworldly, I guess, but there's it's a beautiful. Congratulations, first off, I should say, you've got those two elements of that, the universe and the limitless, infinite, and you've got the familiar in the foreground, and how it's positioned in the centre of those two rock spires there. Is wonderful. I just wonder if they could add a bit more contrast. Again, add your personal touch to it, so let your personality shine through, and you can just use your instincts and just put that contrast where you think it should be. I think it's in the middle and those two rock spires as well. That's what the way that I would tackle it. And just get a bit of depth in there, just to give that limitless type feel to it, so that you can just extend through, and the people viewing can just wander in through space, I guess. But yeah, congratulations, great image.
Thank you very much. And here's the next image in our top 10.
Look, the triangular composition of the trees is really pleasing in this image. I am not too sure what's happening here. I'm assuming it's some sort of fire and smoke. So the colour palette is really pleasing. There is a little bit of tension on the edges of the frame. The trees are getting fairly close, especially on the left. And if possible, because I realise it's not always possible, a little bit of space to give this image a little bit of breathing room would turn it into an art piece.
As I say, that there's real potential in this. It's a little bit like not like apocalyptic type. It's just there's real potential here if you were to build that story, because the colours are lend itself to that apocalyptic and the actual atmosphere as well. So there's real potential to take this into a beautiful piece of art and quite emotive and emotional. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, team. And our next image.
Sensational, isn't it? You've got a real sense of depth where the eye basically bounces around from the foreground into the background. The focus of attention is on the old barn, and they've got the little bit of light just lighting up the grass in the foreground, so our eyes know exactly where to go. Possibly, it's interesting because we're looking at this on a television screen, and I've looked at the images as well on an ASO monitor, which makes a little bit of a difference. But this has got quite a lot of contrast in it, and I do seem to think that, as I'm looking at the moment, maybe a little less contrast. Like the tree on the left-hand side there, it's just a little bit too dark and is dragging us away a little bit from the barn. And so if you look at the trees up above the barn, they're a little bit softer. So just maybe looking at the use of contrast to direct the eye, but wonderful shot, fantastic.
Just briefly to add, I think the choice of monochrome for this image was really clever.
Thank you. And here's the next image.
I love the wide angle, but congratulations again, getting in the top 10. It's sharp throughout, so the technique is spot on. I'm guessing it's either a ultra. It's obviously an ultra wide, but it could be a focus stack as well. I'm not sure. But I think if any suggestion, maybe I'm sort of battling between the background and the foreground there. So I think neither one of those is standing out to me. They're both equal. So maybe if we focus on be the foreground there, because that's the first. Maybe just bring that out a little bit more, give it a little bit more personality to that cracked mud or salt, whatever it is.
Awesome. Thank you. And here is our next image in our top 10.
I really enjoyed this image because it is turning a tourist icon into an art piece. It's very, very beautiful, very subtle, and gives a completely different atmosphere from what we normally see for this scene. So I think it was a really brave call, and the placement of the boat, the smoke, and the really subtle outline of the mountains, which does give us some idea of the context and the place for this image. Absolutely stunning. That is about all I've got to say.
I'll just add a bit. So I don't know this scene, and so from a perspective of somebody who's not familiar with it, it's the mood in this shot is just wonderful. Again, I just want to be there, and I love the contrast that's been put in, that personal touch that's been put in around the boat itself. It stands out. Maybe you could actually make that colour of the boat stand out a little bit more. I can faintly see some red in there, and maybe bring those red of the boat out a bit more. But other than that, it's just a wonderful scene. I like the crop. I like the wide angle. It gives that expanse of the big fjord or whatever it is. I'm assuming it's a fjord. But it's just a wonderful image. It's got a beautiful feel. I'd have it on my wall any day.
Thanks, Chris. It is a lake.
Oh, right.
Chris actually just reminded me that it's a very subtle detail, but I really loved the bow wave that was coming off the boat. It just made it more dynamic.
Awesome. Thanks very much, team. Yes, I definitely have that on my wall too. And here is the next image.
Who's up? Again, otherworldly again. It's got. I like the figure. Congratulations. Sorry, I'm getting into the top 10. It's wonderful, beautiful scene. Not sure. I think. I think maybe the reflections maybe a little bit. No, Yeah, maybe someone help me out here. I'm a bit stumped with this one.
Yeah, no, I don't know whether it's a reflection or whether it's the torch being lit and there's a bit of mist going through, but it doesn't really matter. I think that what you're trying to say is that the mist is a little bit stronger than the sky up above. I also wonder whether a square crop, sometimes when we have a square crop, it just makes it more of an art piece. And so I can see just cropping a little bit left and right, maybe just toning down that brightness in the bottom and maybe just adding a little bit more contrast. And it is more of an art piece in that way. So I love the colour, the subtle colours. Again, I'm wondering, looking at the monitors that we've got, maybe the skies that we've been talking about have all had a little bit more contrast in them, and it's just the monitor we're looking at the moment, because it seems to be a fad over here in New Zealand. You guys all like the soft Milky Ways, whereas us Australians are crass with no culture at all, and we go for something a bit more contrasty.
Yeah. Thanks, Pete. Yeah, well said. Yeah, my words exactly. So, yeah, I think the square crop would definitely help.
Awesome, thank you. Congratulations. Now you have to come back at 5 and then we will make the announcement of the category winners and the Photographer of the Year finalists. Thank you, and thank you very much for our judges.
Well, we didn't get a say.
Good job, thanks team.
We're ahead of schedule.
We are, we can squeeze another coffee in.
You can.
Thank you,
Jeez,
guys.
you've impressed me. Look at all those bloody
I
notes.
know.
Yeah, I know.
I was judging with these heavy hitters. I thought I'd better get my act together.
Hey, I've taken off weight. I'm doing well. Don't put me heavy.
First instincts are always the best.
You made some great comments there. Very good.
Yeah, I saw your notes, Janine. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I felt a little bit
judging
inadequate.
later.
Oh, God.
It's. I just wanted to do a good job.
Yeah, no, you did. It was great.
You're awesome, yeah.
There it is.
Yeah, no, it's. I looked at the judging thing and thought, oh shit, I'm judging with those guys. Ooh.
I've never judged before, so...
Me neither.
Guys, your microphones are probably still recording.
Oh,
Microphone's still recording.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
No.
Just so you know. So yeah,
So why is it still recording then?
just the guys might not have switched off the
I
live
see.
stream
Right.
yet.
Okay. Yep. So I'm going to say a really rude word unless they do.
Get us banned off YouTube.
2021 I did it, or 22.
When I moved across to Perth, like in
No, so
Sydney, like
it's
when in a
9:15,
professional
so-
sense and standing up in
No,
front of people
9:15
talking,
and it's
Yeah.
you'd never hear
So
anybody
you can
swear.
go.
No.
Break.
First day I went to work,
Ready to go for the next one?
CEOs fucking dropping the F-bombs in
Yeah.
front of an
You're
audience of 100
15, so
people and everything.
Well,
Plenty
there
of
was a
time.
case up in the Northern Territory where the police were trying to put an Aboriginal person into
Yeah,
jail
we were
for
sure.
foul language,
No.
and the judge just said, "Shit, everybody says fucking," and dismissed the case.
So he shouldn't.
Exactly.
Bloody hell.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
petty, that is.
Yeah. No, it's
Yeah,
been
you had
an
plenty of
honour and a
time.
privilege, gentlemen, but I have to go next
Yeah,
door.
go for it. Yeah.
You're judging. Oh, there you go. You must be important.
Yeah, mate, yeah.
Yeah, we don't get to judge until later.
We're on, I
So
think.
we'll do the same thing,
Yep.
but if you see an image and you want to add a comment, we've got time.
We've got
Okay,
plenty of time, so
Yeah, no,
feel
I
free
know.
to fill
Well,
the
we
space.
haven't though.
No,
when
we're
are we
very
going to the
important
club?
people, aren't we?
This is where you're scheduled to be.
Okay. Fucking
Oh, look, we've got one audience. Isn't that
No,
fantastic?
Wendy's your other judge.
Oh, we haven't got one.
Oh, right.
Sorry, I'm with
You don't even care. Jeez.
I can't.
Oh,
I'm a person.
You're a person.
So we're open.
So we start at what time?
9:15. You
Oh,
got
9:15. So we
I
got.
got heaps. Yeah, might as well go and have a wander, yeah.
yeah.
Go
Go get
Get another
coffee,
coffee.
go to the bathroom.
Don't need to wait for that long.